A soulful interactive journey through the universal laws. Storytime by T. Santoro. Chapter 1, A Shift in the Breeze. It was a cool, calm night in the Appalachians. One campfire, a sky full of stars, and 4 cousins, Tony, Danny, Miguel, and Ibby. Danny was deep in thought, stoking the fire with a stick. Asked what if time isn't as fixed as we think? What if it folds? What if we could move through it? Not to change history, but to uncover truth? Miguel snorted. What kind of truth are you talking about? Like aliens or Atlantis? Danny leaned forward, his voice quiet. No, I mean the laws that govern everything. Tony spoke with a certainty in his voice. You mean the universal laws? Like attraction, vibration, oneness. I've always wondered how they move through our lives and guide everything we do. Ibby shook his head and leaned back on his elbows. You guys sound like you've been listening to too many late-night podcasts. Just then, Danny reached into his bag. Look what I've been working on. Miguel squinted. It looks like a tricorder from Star Trek. Danny smirked. Kind of does, but this is the final component of an interdimensional portal. Ibby raised an eyebrow. Portal? To where? Danny shrugged. That's just it. I'm not sure. And honestly, I'm a little stumped on how to complete it. Tony leaned in, eyes thoughtful. It looks like something I saw during a meditation on the universal laws. I went through a portal to a place that came alive. Just then, the fire popped. Chapter 2, Through the Portal. As the night deepened and the fire crackled, the cousins stared at the strange device in front of them. Miguel, with a hint of skepticism, said, We just might be able to make this work. Over the next few days, in Danny's garage, they went to work on the device, following blueprints Miguel had drawn from sketches that came to Tony during meditation. It was a strange mix of copper coils, circuitry, and intuition. Danny calibrated the field. Miguel fine-tuned the layout. Ibby kept them grounded when things got weird. None of them fully understood how it worked. But one night, it did. The portal came to life with a burst of warm, brilliant light. As they all stood frozen, mesmerized by what was happening, Tony leaned in to get a closer look. And just then, he vanished. Ibby, who was standing at the back of the garage, started to move toward the portal, as if trying to grab Tony back. He didn't even hesitate. Miguel, frozen in shock, murmured, What just happened? Danny, with eyes wide, said firmly, We have to go after him. Without hesitation, they all jumped into the portal light. Chapter 3, The Mirror World. When they emerged, the world around them pulsed with energy. It felt as though their own energy fields were vibrating, light shifting in perfect rhythm with their thoughts. It was obvious now. Each of them could see it. Their thoughts were shaping the landscape. Ibby was the first to notice. When he felt fear, the trees seemed to close in. Shadows thickened. But when Miguel took a breath and let go of control, light broke through the branches and the space around them opened. Not far in the distance, standing on a rock that looked both solid and somehow not, stood Tony. He saw his cousins approaching and called out, This place responds to your thought vibrations. The cousins rushed toward Tony, shouting his name. Their energy aligned in a surge of relief as they realized they had found their cousin. As they began to explore the area, Danny noticed strange symbols etched into the trees. The deeper they walked, the more the universal laws came alive around them. Images surfaced, shaped by the thoughts they carried inside. Danny saw his hunger for answers. Always searching, always questioning. Miguel saw his doubt, that quiet voice whispering he might not be enough. Ibby saw a version of himself that cared deeply, more than he ever admitted. And Tony, he felt it all aligning within him, just as he'd always imagined. This place is truly tuned into us, he said with a sense of understanding. It reflects our thoughts. Chapter 4, Walking Through the Universal Laws. They walked paths that shifted with their thoughts. Bridges appeared as they released unwanted vibrations. A feeling of peace flowed through them as they began to understand they were in charge of their thoughts. The more honest they became, the clearer their thinking grew. They crossed a path that pulsed like a heartbeat, steady and alive beneath their feet. Miguel looked around, sensing the movement in everything. "Feels like energy never really stops," he whispered. "It just changes form." Ibby nodded slowly. "I'm starting to feel it now. Like what you put out comes back. Just not always how you think." The air around them shifted again, subtle but real. "You're starting to understand," Tony said. "It's that kind of knowing that opens up awareness." Chapter 5. The Master Appears. At the edge of a still pond stood a figure. Not quite a man, but a presence. The air shifted. A sound stirred. Not a voice, but a vibration that seemed to hum through their bones. Then a spirit guide emerged. Radiant, calm, and undeniably real. "You have been guided here," the spirit guide said, "to understand the universal laws and to master them, so you can align with what your soul has always known." Tony stepped forward. "So, how exactly do we do that?" The spirit guide smiled. "Move in it, but not with doubt, not as an escape. Move your thoughts in the direction your soul leads you, where your true self is already waiting." The wind shifted. A shimmering mist drifted across the ground, revealing a path. The guide turned toward it and said, "Walk this path." Without purpose, no plans, just trust. Chapter 6. The Lessons. The path led them to a clearing, bathed in golden light. The guide stood waiting, hands at his sides, face calm. He looked at each of them with a feeling of recognition. "You've walked the path," the guide said. "Now you will begin to shape your life with intention." The air shimmered, and a light feeling came over them, like a truth settling in, or something even more sacred. "The universal laws are not beliefs," the guide continued. "They are constants, forces that shape everything, whether you see them or not." He stepped forward. "You began with the law of oneness. There is no true separation. What you see outside of you is a reflection of your own thoughts." The cousins listened, silent and still. "You met the law of inspired action when your thoughts aligned with trust, and movement followed. And with the law of reflection, the forest showed you your own fears and doubts. That law speaks through experience. Life mirrors what you need to face." He turned to Miguel. "You saw the law of vibration when your fear made the world close, and your trust opened it. What you feel becomes what you walk through." Then he gestured toward Danny. "The law of correspondence. As within, so without. That truth shaped every step you took. You cannot change your world unless you first change your inner state." The guide walked slowly, his voice steady. The law of cause and effect followed. Nothing is random. Every thought, every word, every silence is a seed. And what you plant, you live. Ibby took a deep breath. "I feel it. I can see it now. How the law of attraction really works." The guide nodded. "Yes, but this law does not bring you what you want. It brings you what you believe. You do not attract what you pretend. You attract what you are." He gestured to the path behind them. "And you saw the law of compensation when kindness returned to you in ways you didn't expect. Life always balances the scale, even when you don't see it right away." The light around them began to glow. Tony spoke softly. "It reminds me of the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. It lives in every choice we make. Seeking knowledge becomes strength. Uncertainty becomes clarity. Energy doesn't stop. It evolves. Just like we do." The spirit guide pointed toward the forest ahead. "You noticed your thoughts creating right in front of you. And you learned that your opposing thoughts were not against you, for they are you. This is the law of polarity, which teaches through contrast. You learn love by knowing pain. You find peace by walking through chaos. A breeze moved through the trees, soft and steady, like the rhythm of a finely tuned guitar. Yes, the guide continued, rhythm is a universal law that reminds us. All things rise and fall. There are seasons for growth. You must honor your own timing. Nothing is wasted, because all is energy. The guide now stood still, centered. And then there is the law of gender. This law is the balance within you, the builder and the receiver, the logic and the intuition, the doing and the being. He looked directly at Tony. But none of it matters, the guide said gently, without the law of inspired action. Thought creates the vision. That vision creates momentum. And that momentum aligns with your soul's intent to bring your desires into form. Chapter 7. The Return. The mist began to rise again. No one spoke. They didn't need to. Each of them knew it was time to go. Not to leave something behind, but to bring it with them. They stepped forward, one by one, onto the path the guide had shown them. With peace, stillness, and a quiet sense of trust, Danny reached into his backpack and activated the portal mechanism. As the cousins felt the shift begin, memories of their experience flowed back. Not like flashes, but like a deep inner knowing. And just like that, they were back at the campfire. Same forest, same star formations, but something inside them had changed. Tony stared into the flames. We all brought back a truth. Something personal we needed to grow, to live not just in this world, but as creators of our own lives. Miguel nodded. I feel it. I brought back awareness. Danny leaned back and looked up at the sky. And now, we can build with it. Ibby didn't say a word. He simply nodded. And it was in that nod, in the way he sat strong, with a steady rhythm to his breath, that said it all. The fire popped again, like it had been waiting. Something deeper settled in. There was no need for more, only stillness, and the memory of it all. See you in the stillness. If this story spoke to you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and remember to click the bell so you always hear a new story. And if you know someone who could use this message, share it with them. Because sometimes, a simple story is all it takes to spark something real.